Last March, over a year ago, we had a mini bull run. And during that time, some new projects had huge pumps on their tokens. Now, if you followed my channel, you know I'm an investor, and part of being an investor isn't buying at highs. It's finding solid projects with good teams and good narratives that might be at very undervalued prices. With that in mind, we asked the team at SHOPX if they could come speak to us about their project, and Cyrus Tagachuan, the CEO of SHOPX, agreed to join us, and I'm very much looking forward to this conversation and a deeper look at SHOPX. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money in crypto and you're looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as simply as liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. Special note, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I specifically don't talk about cryptos I don't believe in. And do note, I already own a lot of ShopX and am possibly considering buying more. We want to thank our Patreon members. We have a private Discord that they get access to. Now, make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. Let's welcome our guest, Cyrus. Cyrus, thanks so much.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, what's going on, Jay Rand? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's really good to have you on. I've been talking about your project for a long time. I've been following it since its launch. And I love to buy prices when they're at lows, and it's at really good prices right now. A lot of your vesting has probably happened, though I don't specifically know your vesting schedule for it. So I particularly like the price that it's at, and myself and much of my audience have been accumulating some ShopX.
Oh, well, thanks for being part of the community. Yeah, we've built a really cool decentralized network so far. And, you know, we're all like-minded and really want to change the way we operate and buy and sell things online. And, you know, maybe this is a good segue to talk about what ShopX does, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please tell us. Could you tell us more about ShopX and exactly what it is?
Yeah, so in short, ShopX is a suite of solutions that allow businesses to create branded NFTs that are instantly compatible with their e-commerce store out of the box. You know, we help brands unlock the power of Web3 and community engagement, and that changes the way, you know, consumers and brands engage and communicate and purchase things without third-party interference. So you don't have to rely on Google serving you an ad or Facebook serving you an ad and the money going into those companies. You know, with ShopX, a brand could launch their own NFT collection, and that NFT collection gives the NFT holders special perks and privileges that work with the e-commerce store out of the box. So like token gated purchases, white labeled products that work in the metaverse. There's a slew of products that we're building that will fit any brand looking to engage with the customers in Web3.
Okay. So can you give us like some specific examples? It doesn't have to be a real business, but say business owner A wants to do something and ShopX is what, could you tell us what an idea would be of what kind of store he would create and what kind of things he would market through there?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you a couple of use cases,
Okay.
you know, and because like I said, like we're building a suite of solutions. Like when I started building Web3 e-commerce back in 2016, I thought I could build it with one app. But I was humbled really quickly into my journey in building Web3 or decentralized applications where, you know, you can't just build one application that will decentralize everything, right? You need to be a little bit methodical and create a suite of applications that might optimize for specific use cases. That way, brands can then start to pick and choose the right tools to build for their needs, right? Not every brand is going to have the same needs and need the same solutions as every other brand out there. So we create a category of solutions that these brands can then pick and choose what works for them. But specifically, let's go with one brand that we're talking with right now. They have this really cool hat they make, and they build a community around it, right? Every time it drops, they sell for $75. It sells for like $600 on the secondary markets in like eBay or Craigslist. Now, the problem is bots are having their season on this guy's store, right? So he's built a really good community. His community loves his product. And the issue is he can't get into the hands of his community, where the community are now having to resort to buying them on Craigslist or eBay for 5, 6, 7 times the price, and they are. And the brand isn't getting to see any of that upside. So you got frustrated customers paying inflated prices. You got a brand that can't see that upside in the product they built. And who's making all the money? The middleman, the guy who's coming in, the bots coming in and buying all the inventory and selling it on the secondary market and getting that little gray area and the arbitrage. So with ShopX technology, the brand can then sell an NFT, and you need this NFT in order to make a purchase of any product on the brand store. So the brand can configure it themselves on the back end and say, hey, this product that I'm selling, this hat, you can't buy it unless you own an NFT. And this way you could reward your most loyal fans with guaranteed product allocations. And since we use NFT technology, you can't buy an NFT. You can't say you own an NFT unless you own NFT, if you catch my drift. So we've essentially solved the botting issue in e-commerce with just one of our first products that we're going live with in the next few weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that makes good sense. So they buy the NFTs, or I guess it depends on the scenario. They could get awarded them for being part of the community or something, but then by holding it, they can distribute those and know that most of their community is getting those.
Yeah, exactly. So we structured, again, we don't want to tell the brands how to operate their business. We just want to provide the technology and tools for them to connect to Web3 and it all be compatible with e-commerce. So if they want to sell the NFTs, for instance, this one brand that we're working with right now, they ran a survey. 1,000 people responded. Out of 1,000 people that responded, 600 said they would spend up to 0.5 ETH in buying an NFT if they got guaranteed an allocation of his hat that he keeps on putting out every time he does a drop. So we ran our calculation. He's looking to come out with anywhere between 75 to 125 ETH. At today's prices, he's going to be able to make $250,000 plus in a weekend. And that's just in pure revenue, right? Like he doesn't actually have to ship a product. And there's utility in that NFT for the consumers, because the consumers now have access to buying his products at the $75 price range, even though it's been selling for more on the secondary markets. But those are the loyal fans. They've always supported him to get him to where he is today. And the cool thing is, as his brand elevates, right, he does $10 million in AR. If as his brand elevates and he gets into like that top tier rank, like in the breast of Supreme, the owners of that NFT and that community will see that uprise in the floor price of those NFTs. So it's something that's a win-win situation for everybody. Because like right now in communities, like Blizzard, for instance, they build a awesome product, right? Like World of Warcraft, build an amazing community. They sold to Microsoft for billions of dollars, but the community didn't get anything, right? And that's a tragedy of today's structure. With NFTs, right, the people who support the brand, as the brand goes up in its rankings and popularity, the people who supported them early on can sell those NFTs for that difference of when they got into. So they see that upside with the brand. It's a win-win situation. It's a really fun way to build community and watch everybody do well. And that's the future of e-commerce that ShopX is enabling for brands and consumers alike.
Yeah, that's a cool problem area that I hadn't thought about, and a cool use case that solves that. Could you share with us more about the ShopX token and the use case for the ShopX token?
Yeah, so the utility of our token is very clear. It's access. So in order to access our network and be able to use our network, you need ShopX. So much like Polygon or Matic,
Okay.
you need the Matic token in order to transact on its network. You're going to need ShopX in order to mint NFTs or launch your own white labeled smart contract or create a white labeled wallet system for your users. That ShopX is collateralized, so it creates a reputation. This ensures that the brand who's operating, where they put collateralized via staking at that ShopX, that if they're a bad actor, they go through an arbitration where they'll lose some or all of that ShopX. That creates incentives to stay aligned, where we're creating a clean e-commerce that's built on trust and transparency. where, there isn't that gray area that people could, be predatory, both from brand perspective or the consumer perspective. We protect everybody using smart contract escrows. So that's the way we set it up today. We have our L2 coming out at some point, maybe at the end of this year, beginning of next year. That's kind of the current target. With our L2, the token will evolve a little more to actually being the gas that's needed to mint these NFTs on our L2. This will make us more carbon neutral. We'll optimize it specifically for e-commerce, so we could encode e-commerce transactional data in the transaction hash. Sorry for getting a little technical, but basically what we could do is we could build an L2 that's been optimized for e-commerce and not just some generic L2 that's cool for blockchain use. So that SHOPX is all about doing all of the thought capital and mindfulness about how we could transact using the blockchain on our e-commerce systems of today.
Yeah. Okay. A question about the team. Could you share with us a little bit more about the team and their background?
Yeah, for sure. So, starting with myself, I used to work at Deloitte Consulting and digital marketing and e-commerce. So I have an e-commerce background, delivering enterprise grade code for Fortune 500 companies. I pioneered the e-commerce NFT essentially back in 2016, minted my first NFT on the Ropsten testnet on Ethereum in 2017. I've been an investor or an advisor to multiple Web3 products since 2014. Previous speaker at World Blockchain Summit, ETH Denver, NFT NYC or DIC in Dubai, 3 times magician, ETH magician, been to DEF CON a couple times. I own a ton of NFTs. So I'm totally invested in this ecosystem. It's basically what I'm trying to say. So I kind of have that unique ability to be able to hop in to talk the Web3 speak, but also be able to communicate with the suits and ties, because I was one of them. So it just gave me this great ability to have conversations with the Web2 Fortune 500 companies, and their timidness to come over to Web3, but I could talk to them in their language and execute with that Deloitte elegance and swagger, and they feel a lot more comfortable working with us. Essentially SHOPX, the way we approach our technical excellence, we're Apple grade for Web3. I would love to see you guys look at our technology in the next 2 weeks when it comes out. I'll drop a video and I'll send it to you next week, just kind of showing it to you. But the level of detail we went into to refine everything, you're going to have that Apple feel for Web3. Everything is going to feel premium, but it's built as a nonprofit that's accessible to all, right? So it's a really cool area that we've landed, and I'm really happy with our culture. Also, TJ, my co-founder, his background comes in sales and operations. So he was at Merrill Lynch and Equinox doing sales and ops. So he's running the operation of the company, making things that are streamlined, and then setting up our sales practices and talking to these enterprise companies, or creating different funnels to talk to some of these different brands is a daunting task. And there's nobody else that I would want helping me build those than TJ. And then we have a ton of other excellent people on our team. I'm not going to have a lot of time to talk about all of them, but just Dice and Riley, Leo, all those 3 on our technical team. They're the leadership of the technical team. They've helped us build so much competence and excellence around Web3 e-commerce, such as using the graph to query the blockchain and serve real-time data. And then Leo with his smart contract factory, building the protocol grade. I mean, the guy's a genius. He has a PhD, went to Princeton, and used to work at Samsung. So really happy to have him on our team. And Dice, this guy, 25 years developer. I met him in 2017, and he's been in e-commerce dev for 25 years. And then we kind of just found each other in Web3. I think at DEF CON in Prague, actually. Maybe that was 2017 or 2018. Yeah, one of those years that was Prague. We just headed off, and we've been chatting since then. And he's been such a great asset into building what technical competence we have today. And then on the business operations side, we have Mike Romay, who's been the heart and soul of our company, keeping the glue of everything happening together and keep our company just happening. We got Ray, who's the head of culture. He's the guy that's really connected us to these really cool brands, and I don't know if you've seen our website, but like every product that we picked to show, like it was intention behind every single one of them. Like we handpicked every product that we show, and the tickers are at the top or whatever. And Ray was heading that whole department. So yeah, I mean that's just our some of our team. We're growing rapidly, but there isn't anybody else that would want to be building Web3 retail with than the team we got here at ShopX.
Yeah, if I'm remembering right, you launched your token about a year ago, maybe even 13 months ago. You've probably been working on the project for longer than that, though.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you, with your co-founders, been putting this together?
We started thinking about it in 2016. 2017 is when we built our first POC. 2018, we started to build some tech. We went through the bear market, but we self-funded everything ourselves for a couple years, still learning a lot about e-commerce, Web3 retail. Like back then, like the infrastructure and the tooling for Web3 was pretty limited. Today we have a lot more, tooling and a lot more innovation and the infrastructure level of blockchain that enables us to be able to build such cool products. Now I understand why Apple takes its time. Sometimes, yeah, you could be bleeding edge, but the technology isn't just mature enough for it to have that really cool user experience. And we're still really early, but I think we've hit enough of technical competence and infrastructure in Web3 that we could start those early stages of building communities around Web3 using Web3 technologies. And I'm really excited to do it now with our team.
Yeah, it looks like you're getting close to some really good stuff. Your website had an overhaul. It looks really, really good. And you're probably going to start launching. Your layer 2 solution is going to be how many months out, if you had to guess? I know that's a hard one to name.
Yeah, like I would say, like expectation wise, 12 to 18 months. It's not like we're building something from the ground up, so I don't think it's going to take that long. We're going to fork one of these solutions that exist out there that are open source, so it's going to be EVM compatible. And a lot of the R&D that we're doing, we do have an R&D department building out like metaverse connections and interoperability. We're planning on buying like I'm a Bored Ape member, so like I get access into Yuga Land coming up. We're planning on getting Yuga Land to also be able to build proof of concepts and interoperability with metaverses and other platforms. We've also built some competence around Polkadot with building your own substrate. But a lot of these technologies, like even the Yuga Lambs or Polkadot, they're still not fully baked, right? So it's in our R&D, but we like to stay up to date with like the newest technologies, and whatever the technology we feel like it's hit to a point where we could then package it and create a good user experience for retail or for society. That's kind of when we make that distinction and move things from like kind of a proof of concept into production.
Makes sense. So, Cyrus, would you give me a picture of what you, and this is a couple of years in the future, what you think ShopX might look like, say 4 or 5 years down the road? What kind of problems would you like to be solving on a bigger scale?
Yeah. So like ReserveX, Mintex, some of these products that we talked about, like creating NFT experiences and engagement with consumers. That's awesome. That's really exciting. And I'm really looking forward to some of those experiences we can unlock. But I think there is a bigger picture here with, supply chain, e-commerce supply chain specifically, where if I'm sharing data with other companies, there's risk. There's that centralized risk of databases with all this consumer transaction data, right? And moving all of that layer off, private, at-risk databases into a decentralized global e-commerce network where you'll be able to do like inventory management on chain and create this like endless aisle of products that are available, and you're essentially decentralizing the supply chain. So instead of having to go from like a manufacturer to wholesaler, distributor to influencer or broker, and then finally to a consumer, you're going to be able to collapse that whole stack where anybody, whether if you're a broker or a consumer or another brand, you'll be able to create these really interesting supply chains that you own, that are not owned by a third party, all within the blockchain. So you could be working with consumers directly from a manufacturer. As a broker, you could be working with other brands or influencers. So we create this liquidity of inventory and information on chain that will, drive e-commerce in direction where any brand could build a business online and they can engage whenever they want. And all the money is not being sucked up by a few parties like Amazon or Alibaba internationally. And essentially, like, I'm just going to say it, we're going to become a decentralized Amazon without us owning the whole vertical or stack. It's owned by the community. And it's a way that, we'll be able to kind of give back to the world, where Amazon takes 40-50%. It's actually more now, because you're paying them on AWS. You're paying them on like warehousing and logistics. Like, they take up to 75 cents on the dollar for every transaction you make on their website, which is ridiculous. Right? Great for them. I just want to be able to offer another alternative to consumers who want to be more control and they're more mindful about their data and consumerism, and let them have a ecosystem for them to be able to sell and build a business that's sustainable. But over time, I do feel like decentralization is going to win, or more decentralized than what we see today. I'm not saying pure decentralization is going to be the end goal. I see it as a pendulum, right? We might swing past the optimal point of decentralization. We become too decentralized, so we have to kind of, I could see in 100 years from now, a few guys like us sitting around and being like, you know what? Screw all these decentralized systems. We need a little bit more centralization, right?
Yeah. Right. There's
so
some
we
balance
just got to
there.
be mindful. Yeah, exactly. Be mindful and do the best we can and learn as much as we can and share it back with the community. That's what it's really about. It's about, like, the experiences and the learnings we do and sharing it and building for a better future. You can't ask for more. And I'm glad to be doing it in the Web3 community.
Yeah, I'm grateful to what Amazon has developed and how they've lowered costs to purchase and everything. And sometimes centralization paves the way with technology for decentralization to later come in and return some of those profits to the individual store owners and to the people that are creating the products themselves, which would be amazing. And so I'm grateful to what Amazon has done, and I hope Amazon goes away to competitors that come in that make the shop owners more money while keeping the product prices cheap. So, love them and hate them at the same time.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. It's like, we wouldn't have the infrastructure for the internet today without companies like Microsoft or Amazon or Google, right? They laid the infrastructure and the groundwork for us to even have nodes or run consensus across, geographic locations. So very grateful for all of that. But, like, there's an evolution, cadence. And I think we're at that point right now that whatever they've done, it's great, but we need to evolve into this next phase of society. And really looking forward to what Web3 brings, and, how we organize. Again, like, Web3 is, it's all about hope and democratizing decision-making, which really comes down to one word: is governance. That's what blockchain is. It's a new way to govern ourselves without the need of a third party telling us what's best for us. And, I would love to make SHOPX that governance system that's fair and equitable for all doing any type of online transaction or commerce on the internet.
Yeah, very much agreed. Any final thoughts?
No, just the general of, like, you're doing great. Whoever needs to hear this, you're doing great. Keep on chugging along. It's a long fight, but it's rewarding. And, always be kind.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Cyrus.
All right. Thank you, J-Rain. Peace, all.
Now, are you ready to be a rainmaker and join the Navy SEALs, or what I call the Navy SEALs of crypto, and level up your crypto game? Now, why Navy SEALs? Well, because Navy SEALs work extra hard to be above average and be the best. In crypto, if you're here for investment, is it fair to say to be above the best, take some extra learning and work over a period of a couple of years, and might only be like 15 minutes extra a day, just educating yourself and growing your understanding. But within about 2 years, you'll be among the top 2% of knowledge in the crypto space for understanding. If you use that knowledge and understanding towards the principles I talk about on this channel towards investing, I think your journey in crypto is going to be a great one. Thanks so much for joining us. You probably joined this because you were as interested as I was in hearing what was going on with SHOPX and what might the token do. It's at great lows, which is where I like to buy it. And I wanted to bring the team on so we can have an idea of where it's going to get a feel for if we think it's going to do very well. And that was very good of Cyrus himself to join us. Really appreciated his interview. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Remember, no rain, no gain.